Welcome to Lakeview, and this is SMSU, Southwest Minnesota State University, Summer School Edition of Art 270, Education for Elementary Teachers in Art. And today we are going to be working on our 4 lines design. Now, we're working our way into the foundational elements of art. The state of Minnesota says I'm required to talk about this, and this is the 7 art elements. Today we're going to be talking a little bit about space, and we're going to be talking about line. And particularly, we're going to be using space, whether it's positive or negative space, and we're going to be utilizing space, not like we see here, but we're going to be filling our paper with this. There are 4 types of line. There are vertical lines, lines that go straight up and down. They imply power and strength and majesty. Then we have horizontal lines, lines that go across, and they are tranquil, placid, calm, even somber, and sometimes they can relate to death. All right, now, then we have circular or curved lines, which can be whimsical, fun, laughing, enjoying themselves, and doing all sorts of things that curly lines do. And the last type of line that we have is diagonal. And diagonal can be zigzag, or it can be just diagonal. And it implies action. So does the curved line. If I look at me right here, I'm standing straight up and down, but if I start to fall, I make a diagonal line. So action is implied by diagonal. So what we're going to be working on today is creating this. And as you can see, it folds up, and it's going to be a fun little design that incorporates 4 different lines. And we're going to spend some time with that. Tools that you need a piece of paper. I have here a piece of paper. You can use a variety of different mediums. Today I'm going to be using Sharpies. Sometimes we use gel pens, but for today's assignment, I'm going to use just good old-fashioned Sharpies. Now I'm trying to get my camera just right for you there. All right, that's a little blurry. Let's see if it focuses in. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my piece of paper, I'm going to fold it in half, and I'm going to fold it one more time. Now, I like to make sure that that fold is good and crisp, so I fold it once, and then I fold it back on itself. I think it's just a good habit to get into. Then the paper is much, and it lays flat then. Now I'm going to fold it again. So this will be the second time that I fold it technically, and I'm going to take my Sharpie, and I'm going to fold it like that. All right. So there we go. I can fold it one more time, so then I get rid of that. Now, once I have it divided up into 4 squares, I'm going to take one of those squares, and I'm going to take just a random marker, and I'm going to make a series of squares, anywhere from 15 or more. And I'm just going to put them randomly, not trying to make a decision on where they go, but just placing them, filling my space with them, putting some of them close together, some not. So I have here 4, 8, 10, 12, 14. Ooh, I got 15. Look at that. How good is that? All right, I'm going to stop there. Now, I'm going to put away that marker, and I'm going to take another marker. I'm going to draw a vertical line, and in your view, it's going to go, vertical is going to go this way, up and down. So I'm going to go to the left side, and I'm going to draw as straight as I can a vertical line. Once that line runs into a rectangle, I'm going to go around it. All right? I use vertical and horizontal lines. And I'm going to repeat this with the next line. I'm using the same color. What this works on, it works on hand-eye coordination. It works on the ability of the student to repeat something that they've already done, which is a building block skill in art. So a lot of times we draw things that are a little repetitive because we need to learn those skills and develop those skills, because most kids don't write and draw like they did 10 years ago to 20 years ago. Most kids are not developing these skills. So these are skills that we need to implement. I'm going to use another color here now. Now, I can vary it. I'm going to change it so it's a little easier for me to see the way my camera setup is. And I'm just going to keep with the vertical lines, but notice they follow all those bends. I'm going to put 2 there. I'm going to go over here. I'm going to do the same on this one. All right. I hope you are getting the idea. I'm going to vary my color, and I will finish this one out. And all right, we are back. And as you can see, I have filled it all the way into the inside. Now I'm going to take and I'm just going to color in a little bit of this inside with the color that I made those original squares. And I just do this as a way of putting a solid shape in. Now, there we go. That one's complete. I didn't have to go that full, but I chose to this time. I'm going to open up my page because now I need to be able to see as I make this. I'm going to need to be able to see where I put my squares. So this one is going to be horizontal. So notice that my rectangles that I put on the inside this, I originally called them squares. My rectangles are the long way goes the direction that I want this to go. So I am randomly putting them in, but I'm just kind of having fun with how they go together. All right, so I have close to what I'm looking for. I'm going to start off with green, and it's going to be a vertical line. Ooh, and I don't think this green was a good choice. This green is a big brush tip. Oh, look at that. I got to go around. And I'm just going to put 2 lines of this green in. It is thicker than I had imagined, and that's not what I was hoping for. But you know what? Mistakes happen when we make art. We have to learn to adapt and build from those mistakes. So that's what I just did. So I'm going to go yellow. I got some yellow going across here. Now I'm going to do the same thing that I did before. I'm going to pause and I will fill this out so that you can see it. Again, it's the same process. Shapes being filled in, shapes going around, but now. All right, I filled this one in. So I've got my vertical lines, I've got my horizontal lines, and this time I have a bigger area on the inside that I'm going to take, and I made my squares this color originally. Now I'm going to just fill. You don't have to do this. You could leave it as a section of white. The white kind of looks impressive, but I'm just trying something different today, seeing how it looks, and I kind of like the feel of this. So this is something that you could do. All right, so now there we are. We've completed the vertical and the horizontal. And now if I flip it over, I have 2 left to go. I need to create a circular and a diagonal. So with circular, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a whole series of random circles. And these random circles are going to go throughout my paper. All right, so I've got my circles. I'm going to start with my first color. I'm going to go with some blue. Now I'm going to go in a circular pattern, and I'm going to put 1 row of all the way around. Now again, the importance of this project is that kids learn that there are 4 basic building shapes that are associated with the art element of line, the foundational element of line, and they are vertical, horizontal, diagonal, and curved. And they provide a variety of ways that you can make objects. So line is a dot going for a walk. A very famous artist said that, and I'm drawing a blank on his name right now. But just remember that as a child, each of these will appear differently because each child is going to put down a different set of marks, and their circles are going to appear differently as they make them because of their skill level and their ability to. So notice what happens when Now, this next one that I make is going to run into, so I'm going to go around. Now I'm going to do my next one. It's going to run into, so it goes around. And notice how this dramatically changes what's happening. All of a sudden now I've got a whole variety of green where I didn't intend for there to be that much green. So I was only going one at a time. So I'm going to continue this process. You'll see how this develops. You'll see how this happens. So these two aren't going to run into each other, but they're going to run into each other right there. Oops, and I made a mistake with my marker. No worries. We just keep going forward. All right, we've reached now an area of where I've got solid space. I could keep adding shapes and forms there, but I really like how those empty spaces are. So I'm going to take my light green and I'm going to make those into big open spaces and just leave them. I still have curved lines. I still have corners. Those are very fun aspects of this whole project. I love how the lines just take you in different directions, and with your shapes going down, it sure creates a very dizzying effect. Now, we're going to go to the next one, and this one is going to be diagonal, and diagonal means we get triangles. Triangles are made up of diagonal lines. It all depends on how you look at it. You could do little lightning bolts if you wanted, but and how you fill this in is totally up to you. So some people like to draw diagonal lines, and then as they encounter them, they go around them. I like to do what I just was doing here with the and I like to go around. Now I'm keeping the theme here of kind of my blue-green and my blue-green going together here, and I'm just repetitioning this out. I'm going to change it up and vary it here a little bit. I love how purple looks with these colors, so I'm probably going to go purple next. But this is just a really cool way. We're showing diagonal lines. Now this one gets to be really fun as I've added other colors in, and as I encounter these other shapes, I have to go around them and I create more lines. See, I could go like this and go that way. I could come back this way, and now I just keep going to the inside, but eventually it doesn't end. So I'm going to just put an end right there. Yeah, look at that. Now, what color will I add next? I think I'm going to go yellow. And I'm going to fill in some of these just like this. I like how this looks. I said that earlier. You don't have to do it this way, but you can keep going with your diagonals. What I find is this is a really good project for something that we call the R shift. The R shift is an old term. Psychology is starting to prove it might be a term that shouldn't be used anymore, but I definitely know what the R shift is in my own artwork. It's that moment when you lose awareness of things around you and you get so involved in your work that all that you notice is your work. It's usually in a very quiet setting, and it's in a very, very, very setting that is where you are just making art. So I'll finish up here. All right, let's finish this up. Take a look at this. I've got my diagonals in, I've got my curves in, and I've got my vertical, and I've got my horizontal. This is the example of four vertical lines. This is four types of line that make up the foundational art element of what we call line. And this is our introduction to those. The state of Minnesota says that we are required. We have actual line and implied line, and this is a really fun project. It's fun to do with kids. You can use colored pencils, markers, gel pens, anything that makes marks, colored crayons, oil pastels. Enjoy, have fun. Nice job, Mustangs.